Zemer here with MagnaWave for the Tuesday morning edition of MagnaWave Office Hours. I'm glad to be with you this morning. We come together every Tuesday, at least as often as we can, to answer whatever questions you may have about MagnaWave, our devices, our training, our services, whatever it may be, PEMF in general, anything that you'd like to discuss. Good morning, Hazel on CastBox. Welcome to the people who are listening to us today on CastBox as well. And so we're waiting for some people to join us here on the Facebook and the YouTube streams, and I'm sure that'll come along just in a few minutes as well. I'm calling today. I'll wait. Let's see if we get a couple more folks in here, and we can go from there. Hey, Hazel, how are you doing this morning? Hazel's good. She says good morning to me on CastBox, and I'm waiting for some folks to come along on Facebook and YouTube. Do you see any numbers there, Chris, yet? Here we come. But we're certainly glad to be here. I want to, oh, here we go. All of a sudden jumped up right away to 6. And so that's a good thing. We're moving off and moving on down the road here. So for those of you who are with me this morning, I want to call this Miracle Tuesday. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm participating in a new book. It's called Wake Up Miracles. Some of you may be aware that I did the Wake Up series book with brain health, and I talked about depression and how we worked on a gentleman with brain cancer, had suffered a stroke, and how he came back and did well after that, the processes. So that was Wake Up Brain, Wake Up Happy Brain. And the next book I'm participating in is Wake Up Miracles. Now, that's something that I'm struggling with the title of the book just a little bit, because one of the things people always tell you in the sales world is that you don't tell people that this machine is a miracle, or the magic of what we're doing is this, and wasn't that a miracle that happened, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So those are words that typically are not in my vocabulary when I talk about our devices and PEMF and so on and so forth. However, the point of this book is to talk about instances in people's careers, and there are about 32 different doctors and 2 or 3 lay people like myself who are participating in this book, talking about their practices and results that they've seen in their practices that someone would say, that's amazing. We didn't expect that to happen. And gee, could that be a miracle? You know, that type of thing. So that's the title of the book, and that's what we want to talk about this morning. So if you've had experiences in your career with MagnaWave, and they're just astounding type of things that have happened, that you might say, gosh, it was just like a miracle. Great. I want to talk about it, because I'd like to pull from you and talk with you and potentially share your story as part of my story in this chapter in the book, Wake Up Miracles, and talking about MagnaWave PEMF and how it has greatly impacted various people in their life. We have Parkinson's stories, we have cancer stories, we have all kinds of things. And so what I want you to do is give me a text me your name, 502-599-9722, and I will call you back, and then I'm going to record what we discuss as we talk about what you would term as an astonishing result or a miracle in your practice utilizing MagnaWave PEMF therapy. So there's a million of those stories out there, and I hope that if you have one that you've personally experienced that you want to talk about this morning, just the most astounding result that you've experienced, whether it's with a small animal, a horse, or a person, it doesn't make any difference, because I can talk about the broad spectrum in this book about the results that people have experienced. So if you have one of those types of I have a question here. Hazel asks about myotonic dystrophy, and we'll get into that in a minute, Hazel, to go after that question. But at any rate, if you have a story that you'd like to talk with me about and share with me this morning, please, 502-599-9722. I'll phone you back. You can share your experience, and then I'll put it in my mix and see what I can add as I prepare the chapter for my book, Wake Up Miracles, which I have to complete within 15 days. So I'm getting close, but I've been working on it, and I'm looking forward to it being around and coming along for everyone to enjoy as we move forward. So Bobby, thanks for following me. I appreciate that very much. And let me come over here for just a second. And I think we're still broadcasting at this point. Wait a minute. I'm just typing here. Here we come. Muscle function. Type of muscular dystrophy symptoms include gradually worsening muscle loss and weakness. Okay, myotonic dystrophy. Let me come back over here. Were we still on, Chris? Everything working good? All right, yes, great. So Hazel asked the question about myotonic dystrophy, and it's much like muscular dystrophy where you have muscle loss and loss of use of muscle. Could certainly muscle loss can MagnaWave potentially by exercising the muscle, improving the blood oxygen of the body, be beneficial to the symptoms of that type of condition? I would think certainly the opportunity is there for that to happen because we are dealing with muscle. Now, what's causing it and where it's coming from, can we change that? I don't know, but certainly those are things that need to be considered and understood. But as we've seen with Parkinson's and various other indications that we worked with where people have noticed a decrease in their symptoms, lessening of pain, all types of those types of situations. So just the application of MagnaWave in those cases has been found to help with pain relief, lessening of symptoms, so on and so forth. So certainly, Hazel, I think it would be something that could be tried and see what plays out and how it goes with myotonic dystrophy. Great question. Thank you for asking. If anyone else has a question, please put it up. I'd be happy to have a look at it. Got a lot of folks with us this morning. I appreciate that. Let's see if there's a question here. Let me scroll down. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Suzanne. Bill's with us. Joe's with us. Good morning, Katie. JD's with us. Bridget's with us. Appreciate that. Hazel's joined with us. Bobby joined. So that's all good, the folks that are here. Again, I want this to be Miracle Tuesday. If you've got a treatment, if you've got a classic case that you participated in and you expected no result, or you had no clue what was going to happen, but your result was astonishing to you, or you were very pleased with that result, please share, and I'd be happy to take a look at it and perhaps include part of it or all of it in the chapter I'm producing for my new book, Wake Up Miracles, so that I'm finishing up this month. So if you got that, give me, this has helped with some of his back pain. That's correct, with myotonic dystrophy. Well, good. So if it's helping with his back pain, that's a good thing to proceed and follow along with. Let me see. We got some new comments here. Jan's with us. Mary Heath is with us. Good morning. Again, if you got a miracle you want to share with me, 502-599-9722. And I would be happy to phone you back and have a conversation, record the conversation. I'll tell you one, and you may have heard this before as we've discussed it. I think we have discussed it actually, my wife Debbie had an ascending aortic aneurysm, and they checked her every 6 months with an MRI to make sure that the aneurysm was under control, not getting larger, not going to pose a problem. And during the process of this first year or two that she had it, we treated her regularly for her back, which we've talked about a lot. And one day she went back to the doctor, and the doctor looked at her and said, actually, your aneurysm looks like it's smaller in this reading. And he said, but that's impossible. That doesn't happen. Aneurysms don't decrease. And so they continued to check her every 6 months or every year. Well, then we went on the road. We left on the road we were gone away from our home of Louisville pretty much solid for 2 years. And we were on the road for 7, but we were pretty much gone from town for a couple of years and didn't get back for her doctor's visits and so on and so forth. And so when we did come home and kind of settled back in, she went to see her doctor, and he said, gee, let's resume our tests. And it's about time we did this. It's been a few years since we've checked you. And so they did an MRI, and they went in and they came back and they said, well, it's gone. And she said, what? He said, well, it's gone. And so the explanation was it was a misdiagnosis. And so it must not have been there in the first place. It must have been just a shadow or something else. Now, remember, they checked her every 6 months for this aneurysm that they could see, and it was there. And today, and after, I'm going to say 4 years of treatment, she treated herself pretty regularly for her back issues and so on and so forth, it was gone. And so to us, that was kind of a miraculous type of result. And it was very interesting what the community spoke of as a misdiagnosis, or it must not have really been there. And we need to go back and check this, and then go back and look at X-rays. And they were just baffled as to what happened. Can I say that our therapy didn't help this? I can't say that it didn't. Can I say for a fact that it did? All I can say is that we were doing this and it was gone. And so to us, again, that was kind of a miraculous or an astounding type of result that we received with our therapy. And interestingly enough, a lot of what we've done has been what we've experienced on our own, as we have treated ourselves and our family members for issues that they have had. And it's been very amazing from that perspective. So again, if you have a story that you'd like to share with me, 502-599-9722, I'd be more than happy to put it on the board and have a conversation with you. I lost my number here. Where'd that banner go? Oh, here it is. So again, if you have something you'd like to share and discuss this morning as far as a miracle is concerned, or an astounding result that you experienced with PEMF therapy, please feel free to give me a shout. We'll talk about it and move from there. I know they're out there. You just got to, and of course, if you call in and I call you, or you text in and I call you, you'll be entered to win the grab bag MagnaWave gear. Let me share something with you about the new MagnaWave logo that I experienced just the other day, that I really never experienced in the 17, 18 years that we've been dealing with MagnaWave. And that is, we have a new logo. Let me get rid of this. And their logo is in the lower right-hand part of your screen as you look at it, MagnaWave. And so it's a word logo, much like the people relate the Coca-Cola logo or the Walmart logo. The word actually becomes part of the logo. So at any rate, it's designed to mimic the waves, to show the signal that the device produces to produce the MagnaWave signal. So anyway, I've got this hat on, and I go into a convenience store, and I walk up, and I was looking for a lighter, the long lighters that you'd use to light a fire pit or fire, whatever you want to call it. And so I was looking for this longer lighter, and I walked in and asked the young man, I said, do you have the extension lighters? He says, no, but I have this one, which ended up working fine. But he's looking at me, and all of a sudden he looks up at my hat. And the interesting thing, you got to look at it and you've got to read it, because you look at it, it looks like a design initially in the eye. And he actually looked at me and he said, MagnaWave, that's neat. What is MagnaWave? Is that what it says? I said, yes. And I told him what it was. With the old logo, it said MagnaWave across the bottom of the logo. Of course, we had the MW, which came to me in my sleep as to how that would look and what it would be. And so I was just really intrigued at how this gentleman responded to my hat. And so my tip for today is get yourself some MagnaWave gear, a hat, a shirt, T-shirt, whatever it may be that you have and I've noticed that people look at it, try to discern it, then they realize quickly, now this isn't something that somebody has to look at you to do that, but they look at it, they read it, and then they want to know, what is it? And they think about it. So we liked it. We didn't think about that being a result of having it there, but I've never ever experienced someone looking at me, looking at what they're doing, see the design, read it, repeat it, and ask. And so potentially that could be a great thing that will open doors for you as you're around new people, or you're talking to folks about what you're doing and how you're doing things in your career. So I was just really enamored by that. Sure, I've been in stores in Florida or various places where I happen to be, where we have a very good presence, and people say, oh yeah, MagnaWave, they use that at my farm or my barn or whatever, or my doctor has that in his office. That's fine. But that's people who knew what it was. Now you have an opportunity for people to read this and respond to it and actually put it in place and ask the question, which I think is incredible that can be something that can happen. So at any rate, I thought that was exciting, and I just wanted to share that to you. So if you send me a text and you talk to me about some fantastic things that you've seen happen to you with your MagnaWave practice, or as a MagnaWave client that's occurred, that you want to talk about it, I can potentially get it into my book, Wake Up Miracles, that I'm working on. Let me come over and see if there's any other, oh, that's not what I want. Comments is where I want to be. Oh, here we go. There's a text, and let's come to this one. Good morning. Suzanne's here. All right, she'd be happy to talk. Let's see if we can get Suzanne on the phone. Here we go. We're ringing back.
Hello.
Good morning, Suzanne.
Oh, good morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm great. So you have an astounding or miracle type of experience.
I did. I consider it a miracle, and some of my physicians consider me in the top 10% of improvement of all their patients.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. I found out that I had, I've actually been quite ill since 2002 with pretty severe chronic pain. And that progressed into extreme fatigue and left me by like 2015, 2016, I was totally homebound and bedbound probably 50% of my day.
Oh my.
And so it was pretty significant. And when I say fatigue, it's the kind of fatigue where you can't lift your head up. I couldn't hold a phone, lift my arms. It was very, very severe. And then the pain was excruciating with it. I finally was diagnosed in October of 2017 with a disease called myalgic encephalomyelitis, otherwise more commonly known as chronic fatigue syndrome, which is what everybody knows as the nickname for it. It's actually a neurological disease. And now it's been identified. I'm treated at Stanford University. I travel from Minnesota to Palo Alto, California, 2 to 3 times a year to work with their infectious disease clinic, and have gotten a great drug protocol. But part of my improvement is really from the work that I've been doing with you guys with the MagnaWave. Once I found out about my disease, my sister Lisa had been to a horse show and had seen a presentation on MagnaWave. And so she called me. It was probably, November of 2017. I immediately got on the phone and rented a machine from you. I rented a semi at the time, the semi,
It's okay.
semi, and started using the machine around the end of December. I mean, keep in mind, I was pretty desperate for anything. And the first month that I tried it, it was, I didn't feel, it wasn't like automatic where I felt significant improvement right away, but I felt enough improvement that I said, I'm going to buy the machine. So purchased the machine, and I will say within about 4 months, I'd say it took me about 4 months of regular treatments with the semi, but I would use the machine. My protocol was, I started out, like 3 times a week for 20 minutes, but then I found that I was getting such great pain relief from it. I would probably lay on the machine, and I was in bed a lot, so I'd lay on the machine for about an hour to an hour and a half throughout the day in different spurts. And I eventually found that I could start to feel energy surges come back into my body, energy that I hadn't felt in over a decade.
Wow.
From your machine. So I think the first time I had come to the MagnaCon, it was, I was, feeling significantly better. I mean, a year prior to that, I couldn't have even traveled to go to that event. And, now looking at the improvement I've had a couple years later, I have a Pulse Pro now, so I certainly I started a business and I got a bigger machine, and I'm able now to work with horses. I have human clients. I've gone back to work into part-time aviation consulting. Literally life-changing, absolutely life-changing. And the pain relief that I got from MagnaWave was top-notch. I mean, I was able, once I started using MagnaWave, I was able to stop all opioids that I probably had been taking for 15 years.
Wow.
And then was also able to get up and get out of bed and get out of the house and get my life back.
So let me ask you, were using medications, you're going to Stanford and you're working with your doctors, you're using medications, and things were holding normal or steady, and then you included the MagnaWave into your regimen, and that's when you began to see the changes.
Yeah, well, first, I have to say, I first started with MagnaWave before I got on these new medications. So it was kind of all happening at the same time. So MagnaWave was the very first thing. And then what I did after, and then I got out to Stanford, and they started me on a drug called low-dose naltrexone, and called LDN. And it's a drug that helps people, but it doesn't typically help to the level that I've been helped. And Stanford they say I'm literally in the top 10% of their patients that have recovered from this disease. I mean, I've got friends that are wheelchair bound. Some people end up on feeding tubes because their system just completely shuts down. And I've had the exact opposite. So certainly, the MagnaWave helped me move from the opioids quite easily, actually, because the pain relief that I got from it was consistent and I could count on it. And then the energy surges, which took a little bit longer, helped. But I also think that the MagnaWave is making the few drugs that I'm taking, I think that they're making those drugs work more efficiently in my body.
That can be a possibility, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not on many. I'm on low-dose naltrexone. They think that this disease is caused by viruses that attack your body. One is the Epstein-Barr virus, which I've never actually known that I've had mono or Epstein-Barr, but the doctors think that I probably got this. My records indicate that I got very sick after getting blood transfusions in 2002. So it's, some thought that the virus has passed their blood, etc. But it's just, I think I got lucky where I was able to go to Stanford and find out about MagnaWave all at the same time.
And did you discuss it with the doctors?
I have, yeah, I have. And, every time I go, it's an opportunity to educate and talk about what I'm doing. And, I just keep talking about MagnaWave more and more with them. I don't think that they're here to say that it's the MagnaWave versus, certain drug protocol. But what they do admit is that my improvement is far beyond most of their patients.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. Tremendous story. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I appreciate the call, and I love the fact I know that in your certification program, you actually had a physician in the human certification talk about chronic fatigue syndrome and how he had used it.
Correct.
And I was so happy to see that.
Well, that's great.
So thank you again.
Well, thank you. Send an email to support@MagnaWave PMF, and we'll do it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There's an incredible story and how those things happen, and it's just amazing. And it's very important to note, as she did, she's on medication. She was on other medications, so she's seeing the in concert effects of the two together. So great story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Good morning, Charlie. My friend Charlie Conyer from high school days. We worked in the same band together back in the day. 2 months without diet Mountain Dew, Charlie was happy about yesterday, so that's pretty good. Hands off, hands up for Charlie. We got another one here, laminitis story. Let me come up and make the connection here, and we'll have another conversation.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Pat.
Who am I speaking?
I have a story.
Who am I speaking with?
Felicia Carroll from Houston.
Okay, great.
I have a story that I started with MagnaWave last spring,
Uh-huh.
and I had a horse founder in June, and I actually came to MagnaCon and talked to you about it and what to do, and I had already started MagnaWaving him with the protocols that are set in the guidelines, and he had rotated in one foot, and with using the MagnaWave 3 times a week, full body treatment, and then his both feet 3 times, 1 time a week full body treatment, and 3 times a week for his feet. With the x-rays that we were done at the beginning of his diagnosis, and 2 months, 60 days later, we pulled another set of x-rays, and the bone had been pulled back into place. All the air pockets that were in the foot had totally disappeared, and both the vet and the farrier were astounded. And I even had another special farrier come in to do some other horses at my place, and he goes, that would have taken at least a year, and it basically took 2 months. That's
incredible. That's astounding. That verges on the old miracle for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
And the horse is going again and jumping again. So that's the other plus.
That's what we want. We want them going happy. We want them happy with riding, or we want them happy jumping or racing, whatever it may be.
Yep. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Send them email to support@MagnaWave PEMF.
I will.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Bye-bye. Another very interesting story. And, we hear that all the time. My nephew, Gib, fell down the stairs. That's scary as hell. Fell down the stairs last week and really messed up his shoulder and rotator cuff. Now, Gib lives for golf. And so he plays, I don't know how many times a week he plays golf. I don't know how he works and plays golf, but he does work and he plays golf. But at any rate, really messed up his shoulder. And they're telling him it's going to be May or June to get things back in place. I don't know if they've scheduled surgery at this point, but it's a very long process. Well, my brother Ed, also in Evansville, has been using a machine for his back, and I called him and I said, hey, you need to get this over to Gib so he can get on it immediately, and you go to his house and treat yourself. And so Ed said, okay. So Ed's getting the machine up to Gib, and and I talked to Gib on the phone, and I asked him, I said, well, how did you enjoy when you used to be able to play golf? And he said, no, I'm going to play again. He said, it'll be May or June. And I said, use this machine, and it may be quicker than that, we would hope, because one of the things that we've noticed, as was just shared by Felicia, is in many cases it just helps things along and speeds up the whole process of the healing and everything going on. We don't heal, we just help the body be ready to better heal itself and complement what else is going on in the body with good oxygenation, good blood flow, and so on and so forth. So that's just something that I've experienced, and so we're hoping that Gib gets a very quick result with what he's looking for, and things go well for him. So if you have a question, please post it in the box here. Let me take a look and see if there's any other questions. If you'd like to visit with me, send me a text, 502-599-9722, and I will call you back and we'll have a conversation about what you term as a great success with your MagnaWave. Again, I'm calling this Miracle Tuesday. I'm writing a book, Wake Up Miracles, talking about the processes that people go through. I'm with about 32 other doctors and 4 other lay people participating in this book on the miracles or near miracles or whatever you want to call them, astounding results that they've had in their practice with their clients, helping them heal and have a better health and lifestyle in their life. So send me a text and we'll talk about that. And again, if you send me a text and we visit and give me some content I might be able to use in my chapter, we'll enter you in for the drawing for today's MagnaWave gear bag, and anybody can do that if they got something. Hey, Joe, good morning. And Janet's with us this morning. Of course, Charlie said hello. Let's see here. My goodness, there's a bunch of folks. Let's see. Oh, someone, Bill thinks the new logos look great. Got some shirts and stuff. That's wonderful. All right, throw me a question if you'd like to talk. Give me a text and we can visit. Would love to do that as well. Let's see, we're about 9:30. So if we get questions, we'll go on. Come on, I know some of you have experiences that are absolutely incredible in what you've experienced. We had, and I know I guess I've shared this in the past. We had a woman come to us with it's a tough story, but she came to us and had said, the doctors have given me a week. And we just thought, oh my God. And so she got on a machine. She had 200 visible tumors on her body. And she began treating herself and regularly, twice a day. And certainly survived a week, which was a blessing. And she continued, and actually she lived an additional 8 months. It had metastasized throughout her whole body, but her appearance improved, her energy improved. She got to go on a cruise. She got to go to her daughter's wedding. She just really felt better. She knew that it being in the liver and where it was in the body, that this was probably not a battle she was going to win. But her goal was to get some time. Let me be comfortable. Let me live my life. Within 2 weeks, she was outside washing the windows on her home. And all she was doing different than what her normal work was she incorporated the MagnaWave Semi into her day-to-day regimen of care and health and wellness. And so that's another one that to me was almost the day that, when her husband called me and told me that all of a sudden, it was like she was going along just great. And again, we knew that something was going to happen at some point. It just kind of took over, and it just today here, gone tomorrow type of thing. But she was good and feeling good right up until the end when, whatever happens. And I've had other cases like that. I had a woman with sarcoma, intestinal sarcoma, that they gave 6 months to live, and treated her one day. We were in Washington, D.C. at the Winter Nationals for the horse shows, and she came to me. I'd been treating her horses, and she said, "Do you think that'll work for me, Pat?" And I said, "Well, it's certainly worth a chance, or, let's do it." She says, "My back, since they did my surgery, is just killing me." And so we treated her back for 10 or 15 minutes. And she stood up and said, "My God, I feel looser. I feel better. It's just, there's just less pain." And so the next day she called me back and she says, can you treat me again? And I said, "Sure." She says, "Well, I'm downtown. I'm not out at Prince George's Equestrian Center. I'm downtown at the Verizon Center. Can you come down? I'll meet you at the restaurant, and you can treat my back again." And so I went down, treated her again, and she had a friend with her who had some wrist and hand problems. I treated her wrist, and then I get a call the next day from her, and she says, "Since I've had my surgery and I had chemo and all this stuff, I've had the feeling of bugs, crawling through my veins and through my body continually. It's just going on." And she said, "It's gone." And I said, "Well, that's incredible. And I just, that's just wonderful. I'm so glad that you're feeling that result and that your back is feeling better." And interestingly enough, the bugs never returned. And Mindy went on to live 8 years. Again, it was one of these things that it was ravaging her body. And she had 8 years on the circuit, just doing well. In fact, there was a point in the time that she'd go back to the doctor, and they're saying, "Well, you're having a little recurrence and you need to do this. Come to Dallas and we're going to work on you. You need to quit all this stuff that you're doing." She was doing other natural things. She was doing vitamin C and other type of natural supplements, along with regular, twice daily in many cases. She would share the machine that she purchased with herself and her barn. and she was and they said, go, you got to stop all that stuff. And she did that. And they took her and put her on new medications. And in fact, she was getting worse. And so she called me one day and she said, you think I can go back on the machine? Can I, I just don't feel good. Pain's back. It's in my bone. And I said, I'm not a doctor. All I can hope for is that it's going to help give you some pain relief and feel a little better and improve your well-being. And she said, okay, I'm going to do it. Well, she went right back on it and began treating herself again regularly, and bingo, she felt better in concert with the other medications they were giving her. And this was in about year 6 of the 8 years that I told you that she survived because of her bad situation that she had encountered. And so, you just, to me, that's another one of those astounding result kind of things. That, not being doctors and not so-and-so, but it's just incredible, miraculous in some cases, what people have been able to experience. So if you've got one of these stories and you've got a miracle in your background, something that's, and again, the word miracle to me just says, oh, it's you're saying this is a miracle. I don't mean that. That just happens to be the title of the book, and people are responding in that way. And when you have something, when I'm the only member of my family at my age of 70 to have not had prostate cancer surgery. I've had a scare, and I used my machine, continue every day to treat myself. And I'm 4.5 years now into this thing, and everything's good, everything's fine. And all I can attribute it to is once I was, the doctor said, we need to start working on you, and you might have to have surgery, and which I never had to have, and it was benign and dead when they went in and did the biopsy at that point. Again, 4 years ago. To me, that's a miracle that I was able to do this and gain that type of result. So if you've got one of those stories you'd like to share it, send me a text, 502-599-9722, and I'd be happy to ring you back, talk with you, and have a conversation about that. Hey, John's late to the party. Hope we're well. We are good, John. Everything's good, and we're just enjoying the conversations today with regard to MagnaWave and answering folks' questions. So if you have any questions, put it in Castbox. Those of you who are joining us on Castbox, we certainly appreciate that, and appreciate you being there with us. And on Castbox, Chris puts it in the thing. Castbox is like a radio program. There's no camera with it, so people can listen on their phones or while they're driving or whatever it may be. They have the capability of talking with me if they'd like to do that. I'm notified that they want to talk. All I got to do is hit the little telephone, and we can have a conversation at that point. And on Castbox. So if you're there, if you want to visit, please do so. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, be happy to talk with you as well. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat box, and I'd be happy to do my best to answer those questions for those of you who are viewing. If we don't get any other questions, then I won't belabor, I won't keep you here and just ramble on, but I do want to share what's going on. If you have one of these astounding results, and of course, if you go to our testimonials page on the website, it's amazing, the testimonials that are there. If you'd like to share something that maybe I can take a look at and include in my book, I'd be happy to do that. And just send me an email, type it out, a couple of 100 words, type it out, and we'll take a look at it. And actually, as I'm sitting here, and I've had this conversation before, but I'd love to put a book of results, whatever you want to call it, and with just MagnaWave and do a book and just take the testimonials and take these types of anecdotal evidence and put them in there. Shannon writes, oh, God love you. That's very kind, talking about how I may be an inspiration to her. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that very much. My goal, my passion is to help people and animals. And so if our little efforts to allow you to make your own health better, or to help your customers and clients have better health, then that's certainly what it's all about. And whatever small role I can play in that, it's rewarding for me to be able to have these conversations and to help out any way I can to that. And as you know, we have a great staff of people at the office now. Aaron and Teresa in training. Dr. Amanda Myers has come on board as our medical director, and we're excited about that. And so we have a depth of availability now that we can really get in there and get to the meat of your questions. And actually, with Dr. Myers is being able to formulate some additional studies, some additional things that we can document as studies. Maybe they aren't real studies, but the way we document them, the way we record them, will just give them more validity as we look at the results that people are able to get. And we certainly appreciate that. I've been treating a gentleman with prostate cancer. He's going to the doctor today for a PSA check. Great, that's wonderful. Keep it up. It could take some time, but let's see here who we have. I've got someone coming in. Story. Yeah, let's get it up here and ring them up and see the story. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Hello.
Good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Ted. This is Heather.
Hi, Heather. And you say you have a story for me.
I do.
Okay.
And this is actually how I got started with MagnaWave.
Okay.
I had a 4-year-old horse shipped to me from South Carolina, and this happened to be during the horrible wet season that the East had experienced last year.
Okay.
And this mare that I had only had for about 3 weeks started presenting with some cellulitis. And we had the vet out and we had started treating. And what we had thought, would dissipate in, a week or so, turned out to be about a 3-month disaster that we had gone through with this horse. She had eventually developed bilateral cellulitis. It had gotten so bad that we had her on some of the most aggressive antibiotics and medications that were available. And it had gotten to the point that I was looking for anything to try to help this horse.
For sure.
To be able to live, at least as a pasture horse at this point, because it had gotten so bad. I had found MagnaWave toward the end of this 3-month journey that we had gone on with this horse. And while my story didn't turn out great, she had been down in her stall for 3 days at one point when the lady had come out to MagnaWave her. That night, she had gotten up for the first time in 3 days. And that's when I knew, I was like, wow, this definitely did something to help her, because she hadn't been standing in 3 days. It was like a miracle to me.
Right.
And I wondered to myself, if I had found this sooner, I believe that we could have helped her more. But, just her standing after being down for 3 days was a miracle in itself.
Yes.
And that's why I decided to join the MagnaWave family and purchase my own machine to, help as many horses and people, and animals that I can, because I know it did something to help her.
Well, that's
at least feel comfortable.
That's incredible, and that's a great story. And it doesn't always work the way we want it to, but if the horse was able to get back up and had some, if we could have gone earlier, we could have had a difference potentially, and we don't know that. That's one of the first things I always say. If you have an injury or something's going on, the sooner you can get after it, the better off you can hope the results might be.
Definitely, and that's why I wish I would have found out about it sooner. But the more people I can help in the same kind of situation that I am, she started this for me, and I'm thankful for that. That's
great. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Send an email to support@MagnaWave PMF.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Great story. Let's see, we have another one. Let's see what we have here. Hazel's calling in. Let's get a hold of Hazel. And ring-a-ding-ding again. Here we go.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, Hazel, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I just have a story about my brother
Okay.
that had 2 strokes. He was in the hospital for a total of 52 days.
Wow.
Came home in a wheelchair, and he had drop foot, so they put a boot on him and he honestly thought, this is my life. I've been through therapy. I went and treated him. And as I was leaving, the physical therapist was coming to his house and tested him. And she said, you no longer need that boot. And that was after 1 MagnaWave treatment.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and now he's walking with a cane. He's totally out of the wheelchair. He went from a wheelchair to a walker, and now with a cane and living on his own. So he's doing fabulous.
Isn't that amazing? Or do you still treat him, or does he kind of?
I treat him maybe once a month.
Uh-huh.
So not a whole lot. He's kind of leveled out, and but yeah, he's doing great.
And so what did you do? How did you treat him?
I just opened up the equine wings and had him sit on it for 15 minutes. And he didn't have a lot of strength in his left hand, and he was able to play ball with his dog. And right away.
So would you, when you said you open up the wave wings, you're talking about the large wave wings.
Yeah.
Now
you would, wings, yep.
Yeah. Would you open it and have him sit on it and then drape it across his midsection, or did you have both coils?
No, I just had him sit in it. Just opened it up in a chair and had him sit in it. And he needed help getting out of his wheelchair into that chair, and treated him for 15 minutes, and he was in tears.
So would you say, for those listening, because the wave wings are large, so when he sat in it, you were doing basically his mid back to his mid thigh
to his knees.
His knees.
Yeah.
So he had it down to his knees, up to his mid back. So but you didn't treat the lower leg or foot itself. You just treated that area.
No. I just said, we're just going to give you an overall body, and this is how we're going to do it. And the physical therapist was blown away that he really thought he was going to have to wear that boot the rest of his life.
Right.
And 1 treatment, and he didn't need it anymore. He's never needed it anymore.
The thing that's amazing is that, I treated a thoroughbred just the other day that was having some serious issues in its feet. And I went and I first treated the shoulders, hip, and top line with the wave wings. Then I went down and treated the feet. And when I was finished, the woman said to me, this is a horse that they told me I could not do anything with because she's so high strung and such an issue and the horse, I had no idea. The horse was just very calm after we had treated. But my point being is how just treating his back, low back, and upper legs, you were able to get the result that you're looking for with this drop foot.
Right. I treat my lower back. About 30 years ago, I got kicked in the knee by a draft horse, and never thought I really had an issue. But when I MagnaWave my lower back with the large loop, I feel it all the way down to that knee, not the other knee, just that knee that had gotten kicked 30 years ago.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
I knew it would travel down to where it needed to go, and it did.
That's incredible. Great story. Thank you so much for sharing that, Hazel.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day, Pat.
Send an email to support at MagnaWave PEMF.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And for her brother, massive strokes. Did she say 5? 52 days in the hospital, and thinking he's going to have this drop foot forever. And bingo, do a few treatments and things get better, and he's able to maintain and able to get around better. she considers it a miracle. I think it's astounding. I think it's amazing how that can happen and what can go on that. So Hazel, thank you so much for sharing that story. Maureen, thank you for being with us this morning. So if you have a story you'd like to share with me, folks, send me a text, 502-599-9722, and I will phone you back and we can discuss and share your story. We certainly appreciate that. Would like to do that. We're at 9:51, so we're getting close on our time. We've got a great number of listeners today on Castbox. Thank you so much for being with us on Castbox. We certainly appreciate that as well, for those of you who can pick us up there. And certainly here on Facebook and YouTube Live. We're glad to be there, and we hope soon to be able to also be broadcasting to LinkedIn Live. By the way, if you'd like to join me, I'm going to start doing this here in a week or so, but I've been doing a lot of work with LinkedIn and getting closer on being able to utilize or help you utilize LinkedIn to notify, gain customers, present your image and your credibility and your accountability, your authority to your customers through the LinkedIn, Facebook, working them together, and Instagram, if you will. And so join me on LinkedIn. Head over. It's Patrick Zemer at LinkedIn, and we'll be able to communicate, get your questions answered there as well, as I hope to get into some social hacking and that type of stuff on through the LinkedIn channels. So if you have a question, put it up, and I'd be happy to have a look and answer your question. Let's see if anything has come up. Let's see. Nope. Oh, let's see. Go up to comments. Maureen's with us again, as she said. So it looks like we're slowing down here with the questions, but I've certainly enjoyed and appreciate the folks calling in this morning. I'll wait another minute. If you do have a question, put it in the chat box, and I'd be happy to answer it. Or if you'd like to give me a call, I'd be happy to call you back and talk to you about it. As I've said, if you're new to our listeners this morning, I'm calling this Miracle Tuesday. If you've experienced something that is outstanding, incredible, amazing with MagnaWave, that you might say, gee, that was almost miraculous, and some people feel that they did experience a miracle, and I'd love to talk about that, because I'm looking for things to finish out my chapter in my new book, Wake Up Miracles, that I'm participating with 32 doctors and 4 other lay people. That'll be out later in the year. We're looking forward to that as well. And I finished my portion of the book with Jack Canfield and submitted that, and look forward to the release on that. That's a book dealing with success principles and what various people have done to be successful and build their businesses. And so I was very happy to be asked to participate with that with Jack Canfield. I've enjoyed meeting Jack Canfield and now having the opportunity to work with him directly on one of his books, which is amazing. A miracle for me to be asked to participate in that type of endeavor. So always fun, always interesting to participate in those types of situations. Okay, one last chance. If you have a question, put it in there. If not, we're going to head off. I'm not sure about next Tuesday. I'll be doing I'll be on the road, so I have to find out if I'll be able to, we'll make that decision here later in the week, if I'll be able to be back next Tuesday or the following. We'll work that out and certainly be with you. Next Tuesday is probably more promising than the following Tuesday, but we'll see as I'm traveling, meeting people, and had an interesting time this week. I met with who did I meet with? I went with the Miami Marlins. Brad LaRosa is one of the trainers with the Marlins, and we had worked with him with the Oakland Athletics, and so now he's with the Marlins, and they're bringing the device in, and they're using it now here at their spring training. I got to go to the spring training facility and met with Brad and the other trainers, and went over the equipment, what it can do. And as I said, he'd used it with the athletics, and Don Mattingly is the coach of the Miami Marlins, and Donnie's from Evansville, Indiana, one of the greatest baseball players of all time in my estimation. And I know Donnie's sister and other family members. I never met Donnie because we've been gone, away from town as he was playing his career and so forth. But I look forward to, I hope to see him this week, but he was in Miami and they were in Jupiter at the spring training facility. So that we're excited about that. Now working with the Miami Marlins, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals. We're starting talking to them, and I hope to meet with the Mets as well here in the next couple of weeks and get deeper into the baseball arena, Major League Baseball, minor league, wherever it is and wherever it happens to take us. Okay, thank you for being with me this morning. I certainly appreciate it. And we will be back again, MagnaWave office hours, fielding your questions and having conversations with you about this wonderful PMF device, the MagnaWave device that we've been so fortunate to help you work with and to help us work with over the years. So anyway, thank you for being with me. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon. Wave on to better health and wellness. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.